I have been watching every Pedro Pascal project on Letterboxd, and I'm not even halfway there yet. Now, of course, they keep adding movies, and some of them haven't even been released yet, so I cannot watch those, of course. But every episode that I do so far has had a theme. Last time we've had space, we've had cowboys, romance, female superheroes, 2018, but now it's time for one of the final themes that I can think of, which is none other than, of course, it's an obvious theme, guys. Matt Damon. Yes, Matt Damon. Today, we are going to look at three movies that both have Matt Damon and Pedro Pascal in them. And one you can barely even know or notice that one of them is in it. But we will get to that later. It might be a secret role. So let's get started with Drive Away Dolls. Drive Away Dolls is a movie made by Ethan Coen, brother of Joel Coen. Together, they made No Country for Old Men, which is totally different than this movie. This one, however, released in 2024 and stars Margaret Qualley and Geraldine Viswanathan, and also some other people, including our theme for today, Matt Damon. I actually own this movie on Blu-ray. I only have a couple, but I love to collect them, and now I could finally watch it. Two best friends that need a break for a couple days go on a road trip to Tallahassee. The car they use is from a criminal organization and has some special items in the trunk that the girls don't know about. That's why they are being hunted before they could find out what's in the briefcase. And trust me, it's not just the gold light like in Pulp Fiction. The movie is weird. It kind of gets close to the bubble, but that one still takes the cake. Pedro plays. Wait, let me look this up real quick. Oh, Pedro plays the penis collector. The movie opens on Pedro, which made me very excited for the rest of the movie because this would mean he has a larger role, right? Yeah, no, he dies after 2 or 3 minutes. But at least I didn't have to wait the entire movie to see him, like some other roles he played. The character's actual name is Santos. He has a briefcase, the same one that the girls find in their car. We don't know what's in the case, but you can tell that it's important because Santos gets chased outside and in an alleyway and, gets stabbed. So death count. They also chop off his head and put it in a box. So we do see Pedro's head later on in the movie, but after his death, we get this weird transition that feels like it's from a PowerPoint presentation. The movie is full of these, but most of them are in the beginning. It felt like they forgot about them and just never used them again, which might be for the better actually. I'm gonna tell you now what's in the briefcase. Apparently, Senator Gary Channel, played by Matt Damon, had a so-called plaster caster made of his, And the person that did this was Tiffany Plastercaster, played by Miley Cyrus. She makes a cameo. She also made plaster casters of other important men, but these casts can cause some damage to the reputation of the senator. So that's why they were so important. Also, the character played by Miley Cyrus is based on a real person called Cynthia Albritton, or Cynthia Plastercaster, who made some of real celebrities like Jimi Hendrix. I did find the movie funny. That's mainly because of Margaret Qualley. She has this accent which already makes it funnier to listen to, but not everything landed for me. But then again, I like how unserious it was. I mean, there is a briefcase filled with dicks and a box with Pedro's head. This cannot be a serious movie, right? Story-wise, it kind of lost me towards the end, but with the actual ending, they had me again, so it's not all that bad. For the wall, I guess I'll draw the briefcase, but will it be open or closed? If you don't know what this wall is, then you should watch my other videos. I mean, what are you doing here on episode, what is this, 7? Watching every Pedro Pascal movie is something that we should be doing together. The movie will be getting 3.5 stars from me. Like I said, I think it's a funny and wacky enough movie to not be boring, and it has some nice twists. If I didn't know that Pedro played the penis collector, then the twist would be even funnier, I think, but oh well, still had a great time. Now, for my ranking, the movie will go to the 8th spot, and Santos will just be a C tier character because there's not a lot for him in the movie. Only his head is in the movie. Now, moving on to the second movie of today, The Great Wall. The Great Wall is a movie released in 2016 and is directed by Zhang Yimou. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'm sorry if That's not correct. It stars Matt Damon, of course, but also Pedro Pascal and Willem Dafoe, and many more people whose names I will not try to pronounce right now because I probably will not pronounce them right. As you can guess, the movie takes place at or on the Great Wall of China. Matt Damon and Pedro Pascal play European mercenaries that are looking for some black powder. So Pedro looks for black powder in this project, but for white powder in another project. They use the black powder to make weapons, of course. They come across the Great Wall and are now some sort of prisoner, but they can still walk freely as well sometimes, so it's kind of confusing. Matt Damon plays William and Pedro plays Tovar. William realizes that the warriors on the Great Wall are very well trained and organized and is interested in staying at the wall, while Tovar just wants to get the out of there. The Great Wall is protecting the world, or at least China, from these weird creatures. They are called Tao Te. William and Tovar killed one earlier in the movie, without knowing what it was. So, look, I can tell you the whole movie, but just know that William stays there to fight and Tovar doesn't want to, even though he does have a change of heart at the end of the movie, and they of course win against these weird creatures, which these creatures did remind me of cliff beasts, from the bubble. I guess the bubble is also just making an appearance in every movie today. Check out that episode. The movie kinda sucks. I have seen it twice now and I thought maybe it's gonna get better, but no, it doesn't. Even though the concept sounds great. Matt Damon, Pedro Pascal, William Dafoe fight creatures on the Great Wall of China alongside these Chinese warriors, and it all looks amazing. If you look at the trailer, the visuals are great. I mean, some of them, the CG monsters aren't always that good looking, but that's always a problem. But the movie is not great. I mean, the only great thing about the movie is the wall, and that's because it's the Great Wall. Now, like I said, some shots or visuals are very epic, but the story just lacks and is very boring, which doesn't help it at all. And these warriors kind of remind me of the Power Rangers because they had different colors. The story kind of gets boring towards the end. Well, it starts off bad as well, but the end is very bad. They don't really mention, or at least I don't remember, where the Tao Te came from. And it's also cliche that they have a queen, and if the queen is killed, then the other creatures die as well. So, like a hive mind, in every other movie you have ever seen that has a monster. Also, how is this form of fighting even efficient? They stab one Tao Te per time, they jump down. I feel like there would be a better way to defend the wall. But, I'm not a Chinese warrior, so what do I know? Also, near the end, when the Tao Te take over the wall, or go to the city somewhere in China, the defenders, or the watchers on the wall, get it? Game of Thrones reference, because that was last episode. Go watch that episode, by the way. But all the warriors just quit and they leave. They're like, oh, we couldn't stop them. Gotta go now. My time has come. Pedro also kind of disappears halfway through the movie and then does reappear later, but doesn't do anything big or a thing that matters to the story, even though he has a change of heart. It's like, oh, well, I would have loved to fight these creatures now, but I'm already gone, so might as well do nothing. And neither does Willem Dafoe. I feel like the talent in the movie is wasted by the bad writing of the characters and story, which sucks. And I couldn't tell you a single line from Pedro's character. I mean, that's not true. I do remember him saying that he just wants to eat, but that's it. There's nothing else. He does look cool though with the armor that he wears and just looks very Pedro Pascal, You know what I mean? That Pedro looks the most, well, not the most Pedro, but he just looks very Pedro in this. It's a weird sentence to say, but it's a plus point. Just wished he did more. So going to that beautiful wall of mine, the Great Wall of the popcorn slasher. Of bad drawings, by the way. They haven't been good recently. But what to draw on my wall? I mean, drawing the Great Wall on my wall is the thing. Or maybe a Tao Te. Let's let fate decide with a coin toss. Heads is the Great Wall, alright? Since the Tao Te have a tail. Now I'm gonna put Tovar right here in the tier list. Because he doesn't do too much, but he does look cool, as I already mentioned. And it's not as boring as the other characters below him. So there he goes. The movie, however, will get 2 stars and is going to be placed in the 16th spot in the ranking. Now let's move on to the final movie of today. The Adjustment Bureau. The Adjustment Bureau was released in 2011 and is directed by George Nolfi. It stars Matt Damon, almost as if that's the theme of today, but it also stars Emily Blunt and has more famous actors in it like Anthony Mackie and John Slattery, but also Pedro Pascal, but more on that later. Now, Matt Damon plays David Norris, and he finds out that some secret company is influencing people's minds. They can teleport through doors and freeze time. They can make you make different decisions or set you on another path in the timeline, like how you can't find your keys in the morning, so you are later than usual. And exactly that morning, a car crash would have happened where you would normally be. You know, something like that. So you were never in that car crash because you lost your keys, but because they put the keys somewhere else. David Norris falls in love with Alice, but these time cops won't allow it and keep steering them away from each other. So he has to fight against the Adjustment Bureau and get with his girl. Okay, I'm gonna say it. When I watched this, it only reminded me of one thing, which is the Loki Disney Plus show. I know this movie came out earlier than, the show, but it's still funny that it's kind of the same. I mean, time cops that wear these suits. The main character is an actor that played Loki. The time cops travel through doors, and the main character goes rogue against the time cops because of a girl he just met. They also work for the greater good, even though they have never seen him or her. Now tell me that's not the same. Tell me that's not the same as Loki. Look, aside from this, it's a fun movie. Kinda lost me at the middle, like all the other movies from today. But the whole beginning of this movie and its mystery is very fun to watch because you have no clue what these men are or do. The flaw is that they keep hyping up to a mystery man who is holding all the strings, and that ends up being no one or everyone at the same time. It's explained very vaguely, so that was a bit of a letdown. And also the fact that David and Alice keep getting back together and separate again and then back together, and that happens 4 times, and she gets married, and there's even a 3-year time jump like in the middle of the movie. The story is all over the place and it's kind of messy the further you get in the movie, so also a letdown for that. Now, the biggest letdown is Pedro Pascal, but not him, but the time we get with him. We have seen Pedro appear for 30 seconds in interviews for a documentary. We saw him only appear at the last minutes of a movie with screen time of 2 minutes. That happened twice actually. But this is a new low. I'll show you the clip.
Hello.
How did you remember that?
Her decision tree's diverging from her models.
It's just the two of you?
Yes.
Yeah.
36 hours without contact, she'll never speak to him again. Look at her file.
Honestly, the things I do for this man. We only see his face through the window and then we see his back, and that's it. What can I even say about this? At least he pulls out the chair for Alice, but he has some manners, I guess. Maybe he is part of the adjustment bureau for chairs, He adjusts the chairs. Oh, this character still has a name, by the way. I don't know how or why, but he does. I'm gonna try to pronounce this. It's Mater D. Paul De Santo. So that's another Santo for today. And it takes longer to say his name than that he has screen time. So that's a thing. I think Pedro took this role to show he still likes to play these little side roles or background characters even, just to show he cares about acting in general. But seriously, what can I do with this character? There's nothing really for me to say right here, right? Let's just move on to the wall. I'll draw the hats that these guys wear because they need it to open the doors to teleport, which they never explain, by the way, how it works, but maybe rules are just rules and I can't argue with science. Pedro goes to the D tier. It's in his name anyway, but because the Imagine video is so bad and cringy, he'll be placed second to last.
Imagine there's no heaven.
Imagine no possession.
I would rather watch this scene over again than the Imagine singing video by Gal Gadot. The movie gets 3 stars because it gets so messy from the middle to the end, and it ends up at the 11th spot in the ranking. Now, one last thing I want to say. These men from the Adjustment Bureau, they kept traveling to new locations through the doors. And in one scene, they travel to the Museum of Natural History. Can they take me there so I can finally watch the encounters in the Milky Way? Please. If you don't know what that is, go check out this video. But seriously, I need that hat. Get me in that museum. Maybe if I use this hat, I can travel there. And maybe if I travel through that door, I can get to the museum. Let's try it, alright? I'll see you guys next time. Here I go.
I really don't want to.
But I'm not supposed to be here. Where do I hold? Okay. Okay. No, 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 no.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if